I think I tend to start with like melody and like, the actual, the sort of the sonic landscape of it, maybe a little bit more. Although I'll pull from like, if I think of lines on the bus or whatever, I'll put them in my notes app and then return to them later and maybe build something around it. But I don't know. I just have always loved imagery. I've always loved poetry. Like the songwriters that I'm really drawn to are people who write really vividly, and I think a lot of it is just trying to mimic them, like the sort of the 60s, 70s era of Laurel Canyon kind of writing. I've talked about that a lot because it's my bread and butter. I love it. I think I maybe think a lot in images when I'm writing. I think about like, people and like, what they look like and what it feels like to people watching is a big thing for me. But yeah, I think the way that I think is very visual, and I try to communicate feeling through that. Wanting to be a cowboy, or like, just it's partially like a gender thing, like as like a trans masc person, that like there's a lot to love about the cowboy aesthetic when you're like trying to emulate some version of masculinity. And I think did that sort of that want to immerse yourself in a specific vibe and aesthetic and culture, and the sort of the freedom of what we think of as the Wild West and cowboy culture. Even now, like there's still cowboys, but it came from wanting to be immersed in that, and then just living here in Ireland where there's no cowboys, and I'm allergic to horses, and I am too short to be really a wrangler of any kind. So it's very much like an I want sort of song, and the things that I haven't seen but that I would like to, and the places I haven't been but that like are very evocative to me when I listen to other people's music about actually being in that world or reading stories about it. It's hard. I was very good at it, or good is the wrong word, but I was diligent about it for a long time, and then I think I sort of fell out of it because it does burn you out a little bit to have to be like, hey gang, here's my heart and soul. It's a little weird. It's a bit of a balancing act. I try to just treat it with as like low stakes as I can, not in the sense that I'm not putting effort into it, but like when you're making a video, being like, here's this little thing that I've written, or like, here's this song that I would love to share with you. I never want to put the pressure on it of being like, is this the song of the summer? Because like that's not why I write them. I don't write them to sort of for like the numbers, I guess, or like for obviously those things are nice, but those aren't why you write music in the first place. You write it to get feelings out. And I guess I just sort of try to tap into that. But it gets hard. It gets hard to do that specifically on a regular basis, to be like, here's my heart and soul. No, really, like every day. So sometimes you do sort of lean into like a trend, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Whatever gets you doing it regularly, I guess. I think at my heart, I just love to consume media, and I love to like just absorb what other people are making and express my love for it. And I think a lot of my music is actually just me being like, these are the things that I love. And I think that, a lot of the time that is stuff like the imagery of Joni Mitchell and the vibe that she creates of like California and like meeting people and that sort of stuff. And then like John Denver and being a country boy and being a cowboy and stuff. And a lot of it is pulling from those people and like, oh, that would be nice, and trying to imagine myself in their shoes. But then sometimes it's just like BoJack Horseman or like or Our Flag Means Death, that I'm just like trying to sort of project what I love about it. That's not as cerebral as maybe I would like it to be, but I do also read poetry. It's I can't pretend that I'm not a fan of, trash TV. Yeah, well, I have a sort of a backlog of a lot of songs that I wrote over the last, like 2 years that I haven't really done anything with, just because they didn't fit on things that I was working on at the time. But my one true love is like, cowboys and that aesthetic. And I would love to just get that out of my system and do like a whole project of, I guess, deconstructing what it means to want that. Because, I think it's dangerous to maybe lean too far into the like nostalgia for something you haven't experienced and being like, wouldn't that be great? And it's like, no, probably like dysentery, that wouldn't be fun. But I just would love to do a big project of sort of songs inspired by the music that I really love, as like in, John Denver, James Taylor. etc., etc. And I just want to put on a cowboy hat, and I would love to ride a horse, even though I am genuinely allergic to them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I guess keep looking out for me on like Instagram, TikTok, Spotify. I'm gonna, try and keep up with, expressing what it is that I'm up to. I finished college, so now I can give it a college try. But that's stupid. You get what I mean?